And he said, hey, if you find anything interesting, let me know. I have a hunch that this ground might have something cool in it.
just a feeling that this
feel it in
piece
my
of ground,
bones.
Feel it in my bones. Out of all the other tracts of land, this is the one that has something special.
Yes. Yes.
Because he's magic, right? He's a wizard.
Because he's the wizard. So lo and behold.
You're a wizard, Charles.
You're a wizard, Dawson. So lo and behold, he was approached by a workman holding a muddy chunk of bone. Wow.
How about that?
The wizard strikes again. Welcome to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends, I'm singing again, tell you about history. Some shit that went down, guys. I'm Emily. And this is Morgan.
Hey, yo.
How are you?
Not okay. I'm recovering from a migraine, but everything's fine. I meant to tell you this last week when we last recorded about a super fun thing I did.
Ooh.
A friend and I went to go see Back to the Future, the musical at TPAC. It was so fun. Emily, no, don't do this to me. You haven't seen Back to the Future?
No.
Emily, it's one of the best movies ever.
I know. I'm sorry.
Michael J. Fox. Cutie
I'm
patootie.
Sorry. He is a cutie patootie.
Yes. You need to see it.
Okay.
Throw your kids down and just, it's fine for kids. I
Do I
watched
have
it when
to
I was,
throw them?
toss them into the living room.
Yeet them into the couch.
Yes. You're sitting down and watching a classic. It's so good. Well, despite my crushing disappointment from Emily, the musical was super fun. It was so camp, so cheesy. Like, there were a couple of parts where I actually cringed, but it was like supposed to be cringe. And I actually, after the play, I was like, now I want to watch the movie. So I did. And they pulled a lot of dialogue, like, straight from the movie.
Oh, really?
The actual, like, the music, very meh. Like, me and my friend, we've gone to a few musicals together. And it was very, like, musical for the sake of being a musical. You know, like, the songs didn't really drive the plot along. Some were very corny. Some were just not necessary at all. The best part, though, the set design was one of the best things I've ever seen in a performance. Like, and I've seen The Lion King on Broadway, okay?
Oh,
and what they did with their set design for Back to the Future, the musical, was incredible. Like, they used screens to portray, like, effects and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Emily, do you at least know what Back to the Future is about?
He goes back in time in the DeLorean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. And he has to get up to 88 miles per hour.
Right.
To, like, activate it. They made it so, like, using a rotating stage and the different screens made it look like he was actually driving. Whoa. And, like, getting up to 88 miles per hour. It was really, really cool. And in the final scene, so at the end of the movie, if you're like Emily and have not seen one of the best movies of all time, the car can fly. And that's in the final scene of the movie, the car, or Michael J. Fox is like, Doc, we can't get to 88 miles per hour on this road. It's not long enough. And then Doc says, where we're going, we don't need roads. And then the car lifts up into the air and flies away. And they did it in the play.
Cool.
The car lifts up with the actors inside and, like, goes around the stage and they're waving from you, and then it turns around and then the screens go down and it looks like it's flying off into time.
That's cool.
It was fun. I was smiling and laughing the whole time.
That's how you know it's good.
It was a blast. Again, corny, as hell. Oh my gosh. There were some parts I was like, ooh, that was really cheesy. A lot of like 80s references.
Yeah.
Like there's one scene where Marty, the main character, makes a Darth Vader reference, and it's just so corny. And he travels back to the 50s, so they're like, what is that? I don't know what Darth Vader is.
We're gonna find out.
Anyway, so I just had to share that. It was super fun.
I love that.
You need to watch it. I will sit down, Clockwork Orange you. I know you know that because I showed you.
Yeah, because you made me.
I sent you the picture. We will watch Back to the Future together next time I come down.
Come down for a movie marathon.
Yeah.
And just write down all the things I've missed in my life. I don't think we have time for all the Harry Potters or all the Star Wars.
Back to the Future is more important.
Okay, I trust you. So, let's just, I don't really have a segue.
Okay.
My life is fine.
Great.
I had road rage today, so there's that.
It happens.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
It's 1912 in England. Two men are showing their findings to the Geological Society in hopes they would agree with their findings. I say, old chap, that's an odd-looking human skull.
Yes, sir. That's because it's not just any human skull. It's the earliest Englishman.
The earliest Englishman? And how do you know that?
Well, Woodward and I excavated the site after the initial skull was found, and we were able to obtain the jaw from the same specimen. See how the jaw has an ape-like shape, and the skull is thicker and more human-like? We believe this to be the missing link. The link between apes and modern humans. Here, in Great Britain.
Murmurs go throughout the room. Excuse me, how much of that is your original find again? And
as you can see, most of the back of the head and half of this jaw area.
So, not the face.
The face has been reconstructed to the best of our abilities using scientific data.
And which data are you referencing?
Are you questioning our esteemed colleague? Let us not forget he is the Wizard of Sussex. He has made more discoveries than any of us. And lest we forget that you're not even a full member of the society. Just on a probationary period.
Of course, my apologies, sir.
Now, I'm glad we're in agreement. Let's take these findings to the British Museum for them to display. This is too important to not show the world.
There have been many discoveries over the years that have given us a more clear view about how modern humans came to be. The Piltdown Man was one that confounded scientists for over 4 decades. Not because it was some undiscovered human missing link, but because it was a complete fake. Are you ready for some fraud?
I can't wait for some fraud. Oh my gosh.
The universe spoke again.
Okay.
I did not know earlier this week what we were going to record today for my episode. It is currently April Fool's Day, and we are recording an episode on a fake, a fraud, a trick.
That's great.
That's great. I did not
that. Put
that together till I was making dinner for my children today.
Happy April Fool's Day. Or belated April Fool's Day for you guys.
Yes. Yes, this will be the day after April Fool's Day as it goes out. We're running behind this week, guys. As you could tell.
Life is busy.
Listen, this episode is hot off the press. We're going to call it that. Okay, so what is the Piltdown Man Hoax? I know y'all read the title. Morgan, have you ever heard of this?
I have not. I'm very intrigued.
Ooh, I found a science thing Morgan doesn't know. So proud of myself. So before we get into exactly what the Piltdown Man is, we're going to talk about a little bit of political things and a little bit of who Charles Dawson is. So Charles Dawson was born July the 11th of 1864, and he moved from Preston, Lancashire to Hastings. Lancashire?
I think so.
I don't know. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. To Hastings, Sussex, when he was very young. The only thing I can figure out is that his father was a lawyer. Trust me, I looked in a lot of sources. I could not figure out who this kid was.
Okay.
Who this guy was as a kid. So we're just going to jump to his professional career. He studied law to follow in the footsteps of his father. But also had a side hobby, little side hustle, of collecting and studying fossils.
Okay.
Which, let's think about, let's see, he was born in 1864. Let's say he's 20. So this is
1884.
84. This is like peak Great Britain yanking things for the British Museum.
Yeah.
Into the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So they've got the fossil fever.
Yeah, about the time the Rosetta Stone got into the British hands too. So yeah, just yoinking
yes,
and
thank you for that.
Yoinking and yanking.
Yoink, yank, yoink, yank. And people were allowed to do that back then. There were no laws saying they couldn't. It was finders keepers. So they were just going around doing stuff, which made a lot of amateur people feel like they could also go do that.
Yeah.
So he collected fossils, prehistoric artifacts, and he really had a great interest in anything that could give him a glimpse into England's past. So people's past. He's a history buff. We love a history buff. He did lack any form of any scientific education, and people just kind of thought he was, well, one source said a boring guy, but I feel like anybody that's like into fossils is not boring.
Yeah.
But like he was just a dude. Like he was a lawyer, landowner, well-to-do in the Sussex area. Kind of everyone knew him, but he wasn't,
just a guy. Kind of nerdy.
Just a guy.
That's fine.
Just a dude. It's totally fine to be just a dude.
Yeah.
So, in 1889, so we're talking when he is 25-ish, Dawson was a co-founder of the Hastings and St. Leonard's Museum Association. And this was one of the first voluntary museums organized in Britain. And it was organized by like a friend group.
Okay.
And he worked on a voluntary basis as a member of the museum's committee, and he was in charge of the acquisition of artifacts and historical documents.
Probably a good idea to have a lawyer in that kind of role because he could draft, I don't know what kind of lawyer he was, but he could like draft up paperwork and legal documents about their artifacts and fossils and stuff. Be like, this is ours, signed a lawyer. Okay, thanks, bye.
This is ours. Thank you. So by the end of 1895, at the age of 31, quite young, younger than us, he had been made an honorary collector of the British Museum.
Very cool.
And a member of both the Geological Society and the Society of Antiquities. Antiquaries.
That sounds right.
Sorry, that one threw me for a loop. Antiquaries, yes. So, the Geological Society is what was thrown in there in the skit. Honorable mention of the British Museum. He was still a lawyer at this time. So, he had an uncanny knack for making these spectacular discoveries. And one of the newspapers referred to him as the Wizard of Sussex. he unearthed things like Roman statues, Stone Age axes, timber boats, and many, many more other things, all in this teeny tiny corner of England. England isn't that big, guys.
Yeah.
And he's finding an abnormal amount of things.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, bro's got the magic hands, I guess. And when it almost seemed like when a scientist had a question or a theory, he would magically find the thing that answered the question. Don't think it's suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Anyway, so he was just out there doing shit, right? He's just a dude.
Finding things.
He's
quote
finding
unquote.
things. And he is, I will say, so y'all, because I know where you think we're going with this. There were things he found things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, England is lousy with Roman artifacts.
Oh my God, it's everywhere.
My sister, who I've mentioned before, is an archaeologist in the United Kingdom with her boyfriend, who is from Bath, which is literally a town full of Roman baths, because that's where they had their baths. That's why it's called Bath. And they have found so many Roman artifacts. They have found coins. They have found pottery. They have found, I don't know if they found statues, but a lot of the things that you just said, like the axes and burials, I mean, they have found like actual Roman burials of like human beings.
She's living my dream right now.
Has the coolest job ever. So like, it's not impossible. And like, they found all the stuff in like fields where farmers are like plowing the land. They're like, oopsie, I stumbled across a bone. Please come excavate my farm.
Yeah. I mean, people are like out there trying to like dig a hole to plant their tomato plants. And the next thing they know, they're like, oh, I found a hoard. Oops.
Yep. Look at all these coins.
Wild. So wild. So, this is Great Britain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really great? At least. I don't mean now. I meant at the time.
That's so funny. You might have an entire country disagree with you, but
I literally put great ? Britain.
They were doing a lot of shit at this time. Let's be fair.
Like, listen, I'm not talking about currently. I love all of y'all, but I'm saying in the early 1900s, y'all were doing some fuckery. Okay?
We've talked about some of the fuckery. Wars, the expansion and colonialism of Africa, you know, that was happening. Other stuff was, a lot of stuff was happening.
Yeah. So we're going to break it down to just a couple bullet points of what was kind of going on that only pertains to this story, because like we said, we could have a laundry list. And also, to point the finger back at us, America was also doing a lot of bullshittery at the same time. So this is not, I love y'all, okay? So Germany and Great Britain were kind of in the middle of like a naval race between the late 1800s and 1910s. And they were in complete competition over pretty much everything else. And each country thinking they're better than the other. Nationalism was wild and still is wild to me, but it eventually helped lead to World War I. If you want to hear more about that, check out the Christmas Truce. I feel like a pretty good job of breaking down the order of what happened.
You had maps and everything.
I did.
You had a diagram on TikTok with like, this arrow goes here and then this arrow goes here.
That was the only way I could map it out in my own brain. It was so convoluted. But on top of Great Britain having beef with Germany because they're also having internal issues with kind of higher poverty rates even though they are a very wealthy nation. So that leads to things like worker strikes and other kinds of labor unrest. And this, on top of all the other shit, guys, that we've talked about they were doing, the unrest, the tensions between England and Germany in like the 1900s to like 1910, pretty much right up to World War I, the tensions were thick.
Yeah.
They were pretty much at a peak. And let me explain the science, and you'll see how that beef pertains to what's happening here. So, since about the 1840s, scientists in like Western Europe had been kind of throwing out the theory of human evolution through apes transitioning into humans. Mm-hmm. This was very well endorsed by Charles Darwin.
Right.
With the idea of the missing link. And this is kind of what everyone was thinking at the time. Darwin wrote his book, Origin of Species, in 1859, and then The Descent of Man in 1871. These really solidified this mentality. And The Descent of Man actually was the book, not Origin. Origin of Species is more plants and animals. Yeah. And then The Descent of Man is hyper-focused on humans. And that stated that all mankind came from Africa and shared a common ancestor with apes.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly work like that, guys. Right. It's not linear. We'll talk about that more too. Yeah. But because of this theory, potential, air quotes here, guys, missing links were popping up in Indonesia, France, and Germany. Mm. So Germany has a missing link. Where's England's?
Right.
The only problem is that there is no such thing as a missing link.
No.
People have evolved in different ways, like Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were two different species, and they interbred. One died out, one survived. We still have Neanderthals. That's just one example. There were many other branches, guys.
Right.
Because science.
Right. There's actually, Emily and I watched it, but if you like Expedition Unknown, there's actually like, is it a multi-parter, like little mini-series?
I think it's a 2 or 3-parter, yeah.
And they go into like how like modern humans, Homo sapiens, evolved from the ancestors. And it's like, I think Darwin, like you see like the step, it's like ape and then like Neanderthal and then like caveman and then man. And that's not how it happened. It's kind of like a big tree web. And then like, we are just like one tiny little like,
we just happen to be branch. The lucky ones that survived disease and climate change, and all those branches were crossing over. They were, if they came across a good looking one, they'd have good looking babies.
Yeah. And then other branches turned into apes and, bonobos and chimps and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. But, in the early 1900s, evolution was seen as a process in which humans went from apes and got towards this perfection, what we are now. Mm-hmm. Which is already a flawed mentality to have.
Right, and that's where you get the argument like, well, why are there still apes? If we came from apes, like...
They evolved differently. They changed differently. They survived. They were already there.
Right.
They don't change.
We're a different species from apes
totally
and monkeys.
Different species. Yes.
We just share a lot of the characteristics.
So in 1908, near Heidelberg, a workman found the species H. Heidelberginus, it was a rough one, in a sand pit.
Okay.
And this was Germany's missing link. And it's not necessarily a missing link. It is a different kind of species. Like, what they did find was one of those branches that's a little different, but it's its own thing. But back in 1908, they're thinking, oh, this is one of our steps.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So they're saying, oh, Germany has the oldest person. So obviously we were here first, so we're better. That's kind of...
Oh, man. Like, I get it, but it's such flawed logic. Oh, my God.
Yes. Having the oldest missing link in your country meant that your country was the origin of species,
like, so to speak. People on that continent were all moving around and invading each other's lands anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like... Because people weren't peopling before that. They weren't going over taking other land. We've been doing this literally forever.
Magically showed up in their plot of land and then never left. Never moved, never did anything. That's so silly. Yep. Sorry, like, that's so silly. It is silly.
It's the silliest.
Nationalism.
So, England doesn't have a missing link.
Oh, no.
As of this moment. So you could see how all these tensions are like, well, this is bullshit. So, let's move on to the discovery of the bones.
The bones!
The bones! 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 So, Dawson, because he was a lawyer, played a very active role. Also, he's part of like a million committees or whatever. Right. So he's a very active member of society and civic affairs. And he was the steward of a couple local estates, including one in Barkham Manor in the village of Piltdown. And in 1908, the same year, I don't know if it was before or after, but the same year that the Germany missing link was found, mm-hmm. He claimed he was walking down a pathway at this Barkham Manor, and he came across some workers digging a pathway. And he said, hey, if you find anything interesting, let me know. I have a hunch that this ground might have something cool in it.
Just a feeling that this
I feel it in my
ground,
bones.
Feel it in my bones. Out of all the other tracts of land, this is the one that has something special.
Yes.
Because he's magic, right? He's a wizard.
Because he's a wizard. So lo and behold...
You're a wizard, Charles.
You're a wizard, Dawson. So lo and behold, he was approached by a workman holding a muddy chunk of bone. Wow.
How about that?
The wizard strikes again. So the bone turned out to be a really thick human skull. And Dawson, Charles said, since that this artifact was of immense scientific importance, but when he poked around the soil heaps of the construction site, he could not find anything else. Mm-hmm. So he took it home for analyzation. Analyze, must poke at it, right? So in 1911, Morgan, do the math on that. Do you remember? 3 years. He decided to go back, and amazingly, he found other parts of the skull in the same place.
Just magically.
Oh my God, he's a wizard. So he came across a second, much larger cranial piece sticking out of one of the soil heaps. I guess they've been working on this walkway for a long time.
Yeah.
And he instantly recognized this piece of bone as part of the same individual.
Okay.
Is this how archaeology works? Because I don't think it is.
I feel like if you ask that to my sister, she would like fight you. Or maybe that's probably exactly how it works. Like it's either the most ridiculous thing or it's sound. Like there's no in between here.
No. I do think it's the first one though.
Yeah. I will say though, like watching Expedition Unknown and whatever, like they'll find like pieces of something and then they'll say like, oh, it's part of that, and then like it'll like show the other piece and I'm like, I don't see it, but you know what you're talking about, so yeah, like I trust you. Listen, you're the archaeologist.
I don't have the trained eye. I don't have it. Sure, you're right.
Yeah, I believe you implicitly.
Yeah. It's like when the ghost shows are being like, ooh, and I just have a feeling. I'm like, I have no way to prove that, but okie dokie. You just felt it. Okay. So he decided he was going to share his findings with a buddy, Mr. Arthur Smith Woodward, and he was a geologist at the British Museum. And he showed him the skull parts in February of 1912. And within a few months, they recruited a team to systematically excavate the leftover gravel pits from the construction at the manor. And lo and behold, they found 7 more cranial fragments, the right side, and the right side of a jaw, which is quite ape-like.
Mm-hmm.
And also small amounts of animal bone and stone artifacts. And they estimated the skull fragments to be 500,000 years old. How they got to that number, I don't know. I have no inclination how they came up with 500,000.
Wait, they said the skull was 500,000 years old?
Yeah.
That's a really old-ass skull.
Yeah. Yeah. So, by the end of that year, on December the 18th, Charles and Arthur Woodward, were ready to present their findings to the Geological Society. And this is where we see our skit come into play.
Okay.
He referred to it as the earliest Englishman, just kind of solidifying that nationalism in there a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And the evidence appeared sound. The specimen, it did show clear and consistent signs of being from the same time period and place. And the brain of it looked very humanoid, except for how thick it was, which rivaled Germany's missing link. So apparently Germany's missing link had a thick skull as well. So they were like, oh, mine's thicker.
Meaning it's older, better, faster, stronger?
Less. Faster, stronger. Okay, Daft Punk. So, I don't know what the thickness has to do with it. A scientist needs to come on here and tell me why the thickness matters. I don't understand. I think maybe like ape skulls might be thicker. So then maybe that was showing how
like the progression, like the evolution from this one to humans.
Yes. So the jaw was strong and similar. The jaw was very ape-like, and had box-like molars like we do, which pointed towards like a more human diet.
Yeah.
It didn't have any canines, and the Piltdown Man was placed the Piltdown Man really put Great Britain's name on the map as far as like human evolution, because now they could be like, we have the oldest man. You know that.
Right.
So originally, okay, this is how the Piltdown Man really threw a wrench into the already flawed thinking. They thought the jaw grew first and that the brain developed second in the evolutionary chart.
Okay.
This showed that the brain got bigger first because it had a bigger brain cavity.
Yeah.
And more ape-like jaw face.
Yeah.
So, okay. People did have questions. And in 1913, Dawson Woodward and a guy named Pierre Teilhard de Chardin went through the same area again to find, in hopes of finding the missing canine teeth. Because people are like, where the, I something about the teeth, people were like, I need to see what those were, right? One zoologist said that, like, humans have the ability to chew, like, side to side, and a tall canine wouldn't allow for that.
But we don't chew side to side. I mean, we can move our jaw side to side, but we don't chew side to side.
No, well, but we have the ability.
Yeah.
To.
I mean, I guess if it's like
maybe not chew.
Like a fang kind of, it'd be hard to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So they went back to try to find one of these canines. And this guy named Venus Hargreaves was the only digger. He was like a laborer. And he would dig up dirt and put it in a pile. And dig up dirt and put it in a pile. And then Dawson, Woodward, and Pierre would sift through the piles. And lo and behold, in these piles, they found these canine teeth.
Okay.
Well, nothing was ever found straight from the ground. It was only ever found in the soil heaps, which everyone had access to, and it's easy to just shove an artifact in the dirt, if you know what I mean.
Right.
When no one's looking. So it kind of covers your tracks a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of quelled, finding the canine teeth kind of quelled people for a while. A little bit. But there was still split opinions on the validity of these findings. And listen, hold on, let me look. So I want you to know, before I get into any of this next part, that if you're looking at the picture of it, the black parts of the reconstruction are the bones that were found.
Mm-hmm.
The white parts were reconstructed.
Right.
Made up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They used artistic license.
Yeah.
So that's a good amount of
like
this skull.
Half of it. Like, you would have no idea what the front looked like just based on the back, you know? Like, you can, again, make assumptions, like with the slope of how the skull is moving forward, like, about how big it is, or the jaw and stuff, but you have no idea how big the eye sockets are. You have no idea how far forward the
Mouth? The
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, maxilla? Is that the top part?
Mandibles?
I think mandible's this part. And
Yeah.
this part, your upper jaw is the
Yeah.
maxilla, I think. You don't know how far that protrudes.
No. There's a lot of artistic license in this. So, opinion was split because of this. Because, like, how do you prove any of this?
Right.
So, most of the scientific establishments were in support of the Piltdown Man. I'm pretty sure because of pride. Mm-hmm. But, so the people that believed were varied, but some big names did believe. He let the British Museum have it. I will say throughout this entire ordeal, he never took money from any museum or anything of that nature. He was not making any money on his findings.
Okay, there's that.
He was in it for the love of the game.
He wanted the acclaim.
Yes. So, I think also, this is just my speculation, you kind of want to believe something more if it's in a museum as prestigious as the British Museum.
Right. I mean, they wouldn't allow a hoax. They wouldn't allow something fake in their museum.
They would have vetted it first.
Right. They're the British Museum. They're an institution.
Yep. And they did have more vocal supporters. And they started claiming that the Piltdown Man shows that European, African, and Asian populations evolved separately, and that humans didn't evolve out of Africa as Darwin had theorized. So it's changing the script of what they know, even if it's flawed. It's changed the script of what they know. Made it even more flawed. So the doubters are kind of getting drowned out. And and I need you to listen to this fucker, which is the title of this next part.
Oh, geez. Okay.
One of the more prominent supporters of this idea was a paleontologist named Henry Osborn. He was the son of a wealthy shipping magnate and traded place in the family business for a professorship at Princeton University. And he taught comparative anatomy. And in 1891, he was working at the American Museum of Natural History and became the museum's president in 1908.
Okay.
So he's the president of a very well-renowned museum. And it took him a while to latch on to the Piltdown Man as, like, accepting it. But when he did, oh Lord, did he. He wrote a book in 1928 called Man Rises to Parnassus. And let me read you this quote.
Okay.
The history of anthropology does not include any story of persistent exploration, discovery, and research more worthy of recognition and praise than that connected with the Dawn Man of Sussex, which was an early nickname of the Piltdown Man. So he's really into it.
Mm-hmm. This is the greatest discovery in the entire world in archaeology.
Yes. Yes. Hang on to that fervor.
Okay.
Gonna need it.
I do have to ask, is this the man that you described as the motherfucker in the pictures?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I can't wait to figure out why he's the motherfucker.
So, whew.
Oh boy.
So, he argued that humans had evolved not from apes in Africa, but from a tool-making forerunner he called Dawn Man. So this is pretty much just solidifying his beliefs already.
What's crazy is that these people are just guessing.
Yeah. They're like, I think. From what? A dream you had?
I stake my entire reputation and career on an opinion.
Yeah.
On something I made up. That's craziness.
Yep. Oh, it gets even crazier.
Oh, man.
He estimated the Piltdown Man to be 2.5 to 5.3 million years old.
Okay.
Which is way older than 500,000.
Yes. And so while you were talking, I was looking up, like, how old are some other, like, human ancestors.
Yes.
And a lot of them are, like, 4 million, 5 million. So that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
So I was like, 500,000, that's really old, but, you know.
Yeah. So let me read this quote. It's a little bit of a long one, but it is a quote from him. Or from, actually not him, but the source that I found. Because they said it better than I could rewrite it. So I'm using this as a quote.
Okay.
But you'll see. You'll see. So Osborne studied the intelligence and physical attributes of modern humans to reveal their distinct racial and evolutionary journeys. He judged the black race to be the oldest and, by implication, the least evolved. The white race had made the greatest advances. As with Dawn Man, environment did the heavy lifting in shaping the evolution of the races. As humans dispersed around the world, their chosen environment determined their status in the human hierarchy. Proof of inherent biological and evolutionary difference between Europeans, Africans, and Asians was of acute importance to Osborne because he believed strongly in keeping these groups separate. So that's why I named him the motherfucker. Morgan's having a crisis.
Okay. I thought it was going to go somewhere else when you're talking about the different areas, because I'm not a paleontologist. I just like science, but there are like skull differences based on like what part of the world you come from.
Sure.
Like there are like some minor structural differences that are caused by evolution based on the environment you grew up in.
Sure.
Hierarchy?
Oh yeah.
Human hierarchy?
Bad.
What the
fuck? It got so much worse, and I could go an entire episode about how much I hate this man, but it got down to like he co-founded the Galton Society in 1918 and the American Eugenics Society in 1922.
Oh, I knew this motherfucker was a eugenicist. I just knew it.
Yes.
Was he a...
Yes.
Oh, what was that science called? Hang on. I wonder if he was a...
He believes
phrenology. There's a study called
probably
phrenology, and it's like you measure different parts of the skull, and that's supposed to tell you how like intelligent you are, or like it's very heavily tied in eugenics. I bet that motherfucker was a phrenologist too.
Oh yeah. Ugh. He was participating in like where you sterilize people.
Ugh.
And stuff. It's not good. I did not want to get too far into this guy because he does not deserve our time. But he was one of those that believed you cannot mix the races. You cannot.
Oh, Jesus.
Like he wanted all the Asians to stay out of the country, all that bullshit. And I bring him up because it is very important to see how they took what they didn't know to be a fraud at the time, but was a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to get into how it's a fraud. He took it and fit it into his own narrative.
He used it to justify his racist beliefs.
And when we get to how this thing was faked, you're going to ask yourself, how the hell did nobody notice this? Like, it's so easy. And this is why, because it fit so conveniently of everyone's narrative. And you notice, like, they're like, oh, this just fits perfectly. And he just took it and put it in for nefarious reasons.
Right.
He wasn't the only one that thought like this and was bolstered by the Piltdown Man. And how many years are we still suffering from not only the fact that the Piltdown Man was a farce, but the implications of that, because people like this who had some form of power and people listen to their opinions, that shit gets passed down and we're still dealing with it.
Yeah. It's so harmful. It's so harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yep. And also, as early as 1914, there was a guy named William King Gregory who was a paleontologist at the American Museum of Natural History, and he suggested, quote, "It has been suspected by some that geologically the Piltdown specimens," because he did go back and find another one, "are not old at all, that they may even represent a deliberate hoax." But he eventually endorsed the Piltdown Man, probably because Osborne was his boss.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, what's he supposed to do? Lose his job? Sometimes you're not in the position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, now that we've talked about the people that are pro, let's talk about the naysayers. The I don't believe yous.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, and anatomologists. I don't know why, saying scientists' professions always makes me feel like a fucking idiot. Guys, I'm smart.
You're so smart.
Entomologists.
That sounds right.
And zoologists.
You did it. Good job.
Anyway, I'm not a science person, guys, okay? I'll say it now. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I could have made like in the high 20s in my ACTs. I took it twice and I made a 19 because of my science, okay?
But you know what? I'm proud of you for doing a science episode.
Thanks. So, anywho, the scientists weren't convinced that the jaw and skull cap even matched up. Yeah. The cranium was too distinctly human and the jaw was too distinctly ape-like for it to be from the same individual in their eyes. And they thought, nothing nefarious, they must have put them together because they came from the same deposit. Yeah. Easy. It happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about it, guys. They're suggesting that we've been putting T-Rex's arms on backwards for how long now? It would make more sense it's a big bird.
Yeah.
A giant bitey chicken. Why would they have arms like that? It makes more sense that they have clawed wings. Like a big chicken.
I'm just imagining.
So we've just been putting them backwards.
Instead of a T-Rex, like, you know, with its arms forward, it's just like these tiny little mini wings that can't do anything. It's like, bleh.
Well, I can't do anything anyway.
These giant sharp teeth. I'm
just imagining a big
just like 3-foot long teeth and just clucking like a chicken.
I'd be like, I'm not scared of that thing.
Get
Get eaten immediately. Oh my god. typical. So
anyway,
zoologists were claiming, they were like, that is a chimp jawbone if I've ever fucking seen one, guys. And the press was also similarly divided. To some, they were like, oh, it's proof. But then others were like, nah, and didn't even like write anything about it. They were like, I'm not going to write this because I don't think it's true.
It's silly.
Yeah. So a lot of the disagreement was that they thought that the reconstruction of this skull was just simply inaccurate because, like we said, the black parts were what is there. The rest of it is made up. They were like, how do we know that this is right?
Yeah.
So even slight changes in like the angle can make it completely different. So it was all just too speculative for scientists who like to have data, hard answers, evidence, nothing woo-woo.
Right.
So, like I said, like I had briefly mentioned earlier, in 1915, Charles Dawson actually went back, but he went about 2 miles away from the original location and found, oh wow, another specimen.
Oh my God, how convenient.
And then Woodward was like, where exactly did you find it? And Dawson was like, haha, look over there. He never would tell him.
Wow, that's shady.
And then Charles died.
You've got to be kidding me.
In 1916.
Wow.
Very unexpectedly. I will save his cause of death for later because that is important. But
okay.
So that left Woodward to defend the Piltdown Man on his own, and now this new one where he doesn't even know where it came from, and he did not even present the findings to the society until 5 months after Dawson died.
Wow.
So Osborne died in 1935. So then Woodward was the only one really rooting for it or protecting it until 1944. So now,
don't they have other shit going on in 1944?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
Maybe a little war.
They're just talking about... Okay, and, like, if they're continuing this... It's just my squirrel brain, like, bringing up World War II. Like, if they're continuing the sign of thinking from Osborne, like, how it shows the superiority of white Europeans because of this Piltdown Man, like, and then you have Nazi Germany going on, and, like, they're like, it's just a lot of yuckiness going on.
It's a lot of yuckiness, and I would be very, very curious to see what side Osborne was on, because he was an American, remember?
Probably a Nazi sympathizer. A lot of Americans were.
Probably.
That's totally speculative. I don't know anything about this man.
That's
just my opinion.
Looked at the evidence we were given.
But yeah, given that he was a eugenicist and a racist and believed that whites were superior, he probably was a Nazi sympathizer. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. So some years started passing after everyone holding these close to their chest died. Mm-hmm. We're going to back it up just a hair and say around 1939, Kenneth Oakley, a paleontologist, devised a new chemical analysis called fluorine testing.
Okay.
And so then, Woodward died. And interest in the Piltdown remains waned a lot. People were like, we still don't really have concrete. answers, I don't know. Maybe we're not going to include this in science and whatever. And it was just kind of like a curiosity. But then in 1953, war's over. What else do we have to do? Kenneth Oakley, the guy who made the fluorine testing, and Joseph Weiner. I really hope it's Weiner, but it is spelled Wiener. So, conducted an extensive analysis on these bones because, I don't know, the curiosity just got the better of them. And it was a little suspicious that no one had allowed extensive study. Like, they were allowed to be studied, but not, like, drilled into or whatever.
Right.
So, this next section is blinded me with science because that's how I felt reading it. So, a lot of this is copied and pasted so I didn't mess up the actual science part. So, they went towards physical first. So, under a microscope, they saw that the molars had been filed down to resemble human ones. And theoretically, this damage could have happened while this person was alive. So to kind of investigate that possibility, they took x-ray photos of the teeth to look for signs of healing.
Right.
And the wear had cut through the enamel and the inner tooth dentine.
Yeah.
The photographs revealed that no new dentine had grown to replace it and that the damage could not have happened while the individual was alive. So it was post-mortem.
Okay.
And then physical tests also pointed out that the real source of the teeth was chimpanzee teeth.
So it was a chimpanzee lower jaw.
I think it was an orangutan lower jaw.
Oh, really?
And chimpanzee teeth. And they were able to
stick the chimpanzee teeth onto their...
I don't know where he got the bones.
That's what I was literally just wondering. Where the hell did he get all these bones? And then just was like, I found them.
I know for a fact. I'll skip ahead a little bit. The bones were old.
Right.
So he was coming across, so I don't know how, but it's not like he went out and killed a chimp.
Right.
So there's that.
I mean,
thankfully,
like, you can tell, like, a bone is old, like, because it starts to do the stuff. I don't know, but like, you can tell.
Well, we'll talk
bone.
about, yes. So, chemical analysis revealed that the jaw fragments had been artificially stained with iron and chromic acid to look older. Now, by drilling into, like, part of the jaw, that's how they discovered that it was stained, because the staining didn't go all the way through the bone.
Right. It's just surface level.
Yeah, so it was superficial.
See, this is like real science.
This is real science, guys. This is what happens when you do your due diligence before just believing a crackpot. So, the cranial fragments had actually a very deeper naturally occurring stain, and that suggested that it was a humanoid cranium, but it was significantly older than the jaw part. And then through a combination of fluorine absorption dating and nitrogen dating, let me explain this for a second. Buried bones absorb fluoride from the earth over time. The more fluoride present in a bone, the longer it has been buried. Okay. So the older it is. The jaws and teeth contained 0.03 to 0.04 fluoride, whereas the brain, the cranium, brain case, cranium area, showed fluoride of 0.1. So twice as long. Twice as much.
Okay.
A little more than twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So The jaw had not been in the dirt for very long. The cranium had been in the ground for, it said 50,000 years.
Okay.
But still way less than 500,000.
Right.
But they also conducted the nitrogen testing. And as bones degrade over time, they lose the organic components like nitrogen to the soil. The soil takes them. The soil giveth and it taketh. So, gimme. Selfish soil.
Take my fluoride. I don't need it.
Take my fluoride. Take my nitrogen. I don't need it any longer. So, fresh bones contain about 5% nitrogen. And the jaws were tested between 3.9 and 5.1. And the skull bones were 0.6 to 1.4. So much older.
Right.
And the bones came from like 1, 2, one source said 3 humans because there were multiple little chunks.
Huh.
And an orangutan. And then the teeth were chimpanzee. So this is a Franken-skull.
So he found like 3 separate pieces, potentially 3 separate pieces of human skull that came from like 3 different individuals from around the same time and just like stuck them together.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And some sources say it was like 1 human. I'm not really seeing a consistent.
Yeah.
Like, I think 2 could be, if you look at the skull at all its angles and all the little bitty pieces, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if it was like more.
Yeah.
Than,
just like a jigsaw puzzle, but a skull, you
yeah.
know?
Some of these pieces had been just straight painted.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord.
And part of the jaw had been broken off. So, like, the part where the jaw meets the skull had been broken off. So you couldn't tell that they didn't fit together.
Ah. Convenient.
Yeah. So, on November
This is reminding me of this, like... Do you remember seeing them like the National Enquirer? It was like mermaid monkey found, and it was like literally like a monkey carcass taped to like a fish or something. Like, this is what it's reminding me of. This is how hodgepodge this hoax is.
Yep. So on November 21st of 1953, it was confirmed and announced that it was a hoax. And honestly, there were very few people who were surprised.
I mean, I'm sure, like, the people who still cared had already died, so everyone was like, oh, all right.
Oh, yeah. But then later testing in 1959 discovered that carbon dating showed that the skull was only like 520 to 720 years old, and the jawbone was even younger.
So is it 50,000 or is it 500?
I don't know. I just know it wasn't 500,000.
And I think carbon dating is, like, that's what we use today, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So it is probably more accurate because, I mean, like, different soils can have, like, different components of, like, nitrogen and fluoride.
Right.
So, I mean, they at least proved it wasn't 500,000 years old.
Exactly.
So is that
carbon dating? Yes, carbon dating was new at this point.
Right.
So
he probably just found all the fucking Roman remains that were lying around England and was like, I'm going to make a skull.
Probably.
Because 500 years, I think that's Roman times. I don't know.
That makes sense.
When did Rome collapse? I don't know.
So, the aftermath. So everyone is like, okay, it's a hoax. Cool. Who did it? Who was the hoaxer? I know you guys know who the hoaxer is because I've been telling you this whole time. But back then they were like, who did it?
Who did this guy?
So Charles Dawson was pretty much everyone's kind of top choice to begin with because he was just an amateur archaeologist. Remember, he had no scientific training.
Right.
And he had something to prove. And he kept finding things that shouldn't be found.
Right.
And
he just wanted to be popular.
Popular. So he also consistently was the only person who had access to all the sites and all the specimens.
Well, there you
and
go.
In the years that followed, many, let's just say, conspiracy theories came about as to who could have done it. So some suggested that Woodward was in on it, and his access to zoological and historic materials and helped them, and he had conspired to create the hoax.
I can see that.
I'm kind of inclined to believe it. Yeah. You're right. It would explain where the ape jaw came from.
And, like, he's already so, like, supportive of Dawson. Like, if it's found to be a hoax, his reputation's on the line as, like, all the stuff he was in charge of. So,
yep.
I can see him being like, no, like, it's gotta be legit, because, or not even legit, but, like, you know what I mean? He's got to protect the lie.
Right. Right. Some were convinced that Woodward's colleagues at the British Museum had made the hoax to, like, ruin his reputation.
But then that didn't happen, so, like, okay.
No. It made it bigger.
Yeah, they weren't like, haha, you fell for a trick.
This one's the most wild.
Okay.
And someone else said that Arthur Conan Doyle, who was another fossil hunter and also conveniently lived in Sussex, had forged and planted the fossils for Dawson to find.
That's hilarious. You know, like,
so funny.
He was a pretty wild person, and, like, I'm sure, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna take that, I'm not gonna dismiss that one. Yeah. Not that I know everything about him, but his mind was something else, so I can see that. He loved a mystery, let's say.
And who doesn't?
Right. I mean, he's the mystery guy.
Yeah. But then mostly the blame fell on Dawson.
Yeah.
So it came clear. They tested all of his finds because they're all in museums, right?
Right.
They found other fraudulent discoveries. Big shock, guys.
I'm so surprised. This is my surprised face.
Yeah. One of them was a Roman statue, and it is widely accepted that the Romans did not use cast iron. They didn't have that kind of technology yet.
They had bronze.
But he found a Roman cast iron statue proving that they did. No.
Okay.
There was a brick that had like a Roman emperor like name on it. That was a fraud. And that's just two. They went through all of them, like I said, and found at least 38 were fake. I don't know what his final number was, but 38 fakes is a lot of fakes.
That's a lot of mud on the British Museum's face, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And his fraud started around 1896, so right when he was getting started.
He was like, I'm not finding enough artifacts, so I'm going to make my own.
Exactly. And, you know, he's like, oh, you have a question? I have the answer for it because I just found it.
He just wanted to be a famous amateur archaeologist. That's all he wanted.
So what exactly happened to Dawson all those years ago back in 1960?
I'm dying to know.
Some believe, because he was only like 42 or 43 when he died.
Yeah.
That he died from the chemicals that he used to stain the bones.
Oh, shit.
Because it's like harsh chemicals.
You said it was lead and something else, right?
Chromic acid. Stained with iron and chromic acid.
That sounds bad. What's chromic acid? I'm going to look it up really quick. It's probably gnarly.
There's something, one of the sources said that, like, they stain wood with it.
So, this is the AI
Wood
overview.
preservation.
A powerful, highly corrosive, and toxic oxidizing agent primarily used in metal finishing, for chromium plating, ceramic glazes, wood preservation, and laboratory cleaning. It is a strong carcinogen that can cause severe skin burns, respiratory damage, and eye injury.
Oh, yeah, he was just like...
Just raw dogging that shit, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he had PPE. He didn't have proper ventilation.
No. No. And it was said that he was just doing this shit in, like, his law office, so people were, like, walking in and seeing him, like stain shit. Like, everyone knew he was a fraud.
Yeah.
Do it at home, at least.
Yeah. So I could see that as being his cause of death, potentially, if he wasn't careful with all his chemicals.
Right.
So is that, like, the most popular theory of how he died?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think he was, like, sick for a while. I don't think I saw, like, an actual cause of death. This was the only... And it would make sense.
Yeah.
Basically chrome plating his insides.
Yeah.
So then there was a study done in 2016 that they studied how the teeth were filed down and concluded that he had worked alone. But then I have questions about that. It's like, just because he was the only one to file down the teeth and the jaws doesn't mean Woodward wouldn't be in on it.
Yeah. He could have procured the bones.
Exactly. So, as much as he wanted to go down in history as, like, being the man that found the missing link, he is remembered as a fraud.
Yeah.
Who hoodwinked the scientific community for 40 years. There were over 700 papers written about the Piltdown Man.
That's crazy. And they're just making shit up, honestly.
Yeah.
There are 700 papers just making shit up.
Yeah. Yeah, making shit up. And if somebody even tried to make sense of this, they wrote a paper, now their reputation is tarnished.
Right.
Because they fell for it. So, in 1925, Raymond Dart found the tongue skull in South Africa, and he said he believes that this to be the earliest human ancestor, but because of the Piltdown Man, people didn't believe him until Piltdown came out as a fraud, and then Dart was like, they were like, oh yeah, you're right. So, like, there's so much time and energy and resources wasted on the Piltdown Man that could have been put into actual, real science and excavations.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
And so much energy was, like, trying to, like, justify the... Maybe it all wasn't even in a racist way, but just being like, see, it's us. We're the ones.
Yeah.
It's us. We're the missing, or we found the missing link.
Blinding nationalism.
Yeah. At a minimum.
At a minimum. So I do have one fun fact.
Okay.
I'm working hard to bring the fun facts back. So Dawson's law firm is still around.
Oh.
And there is a replica of the Piltdown Man in the office still. After it came out as a hoax, the law firm tried to get, like, the original back, and the British Museum was like, no, but here's
bones.
a plaster cast. Yeah. Here's a plaster cast. It's literally bones.
They're like, can we have it back? And they're like, it's literal bones. No.
Yeah, no, I'm not allowing you to just have human bones.
They're human remains. You cannot display them in your law office. This was a person.
So they have a plaster cast.
Okay. Well, that is fun.
So that is fun. It's the only part of the Piltdown Man hoax that is still on display.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this was so fascinating, Emily. Thank you. I never heard of this before.
I forgot where I heard of this. but I had it written down in my notes, and I was like, yes. Yes. And you know what? As much as I don't like science for the fact that I don't understand it, I like science for what it does.
Mm-hmm.
This pisses me off so bad.
It's just annoying. Like, what was all this
40
for?
years.
This is such a waste of time and energy and resources, like you said. Like,
how? I'm just trying to figure out how naive this man was to think that technology wouldn't improve enough to figure out that this was a hoax. It was going to come out eventually. He just happened to die before it did.
yeah. And the horrific ideas that spread from it.
Yes, that were perpetuated. It's like these people had these ideas, and then you gave them their smoking gun. This was confirmation bias at its worst.
Yeah.
They were looking for the answer, and they found it, and they made it fit into their narrative.
And it still doesn't even make sense. Like,
No, it doesn't.
like, just, like, there's so many, like, I'm just imagining them, like, we have found the oldest skull, therefore we are the best, because we are the most evolved. Like, you don't even know who that, even if it was a legitimate skull, you don't know who that person was. They could have wandered in. You don't know. It's just
also,
so silly.
I think it's really interesting that they're like, if we have obviously the earliest mankind, then we're the most evolved.
I was also thinking that. The Africans
then when it came
who are
to
the oldest but the least evolved. Yeah. And like I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's been going in my brain ever since like you read that quote, because I was like, that makes zero sense. Like,
it fits their narrative.
Yeah.
They change it how they want to because it has no sound reasoning, and they just want to be assholes. Because they think they're better than everyone else. Because, I don't know, mommy didn't love them enough and they need therapy. I have no explanation.
And it's just like, kind of going back to how humans adapt to their environment. Like, if you've been on the internet, you've seen it, but there's literally a map that shows skin colors dependent on where people are according to like their distance to the equator. And as you get closer to the equator, people get darker skin because there's more sun, so their skin has evolved to develop more melanin to protect their skin from the sun. And in the paler, like as you go to the poles, the paler people are to allow more vitamin D in because they don't get as much sun. Like, that's all it is. And then people are like, we're superior because we have white skin, when it's literally just dependent on your distance from the equator.
Yeah. You want to feel superior? Go lay on a beach. See what happens. Yeah,
your
you're
skin
gonna be
gets
looking
dark.
like a lobster. Be looking like a lobster. Doesn't feel very superior to me. It feels very you. It's just you. You are you. You are a descendant from people who are from where they're from. Mm-hmm. You got the DNA you got. And things change and happen and do things. And
now it doesn't even... I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but like now with, you know, our technology, you can go anywhere in the world that you want.
Yeah.
Listen, like you're not bound by your area anymore.
No. And one of the main arguments that, and this is going to blow your mind, but that motherfucker, I've already forgotten his name because I don't call him anything else, was saying that if we, guys, this is air quote, breed outside of our races, we will start devolving as people. We'll start evolving backwards.
What does that even mean?
Make it make sense. I can't do it. And that's why I just called him the motherfucker.
He is the motherfucker. That's a very apt description.
Thank you. I was like, my brain started shutting off. I'm like, I can't read any more of this nonsense.
Yeah.
I've given this man too much of my time.
Understandable.
Going back to the Piltdown Man. Ugh. Awful, awful.
Well, you did a great job with this episode, Emma.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into socials.
Let's do socials.
Okay. You can find us on Facebook,
Ill-Equipped History Podcast Group and page.
Instagram,
At Ill-Equipped History.
Gmail,
Ill-Equippedhistory at gmail.com.
TikTok,
At Ill-Equipped History.
and Patreon.
Patreon.com/Ill-Equipped History.
Illequipped history. So, guys, don't be like most people in the story and lie to get to where you want to be. And be like the naysayers who are questioning. Question everything.
Yeah. Fine. You know, you don't have to take anyone's word. You know, use legitimate factual sources to do your own research.
Yes. If a source looks sketchy, it probably is.
Yep.
And if you think the jawbone is an ape and the skull is a human, speak up.
It's probably a fake. If it's a monkey taped to a fish, it's probably a fake.
Guys, mermaids don't exist. Say it with me. Mermaids don't exist.
As sad as that may be for you.
I know.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.